All right. Very cool, guys. Here we go. This is a new live session today. Sorry for the shakiness. Just getting the camera on its place. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this, you guys. We can do this. I know we can show up and do this. I got water, okay? And like a Starbucks. I'm ready to do this, you guys. Today I'm gonna do a landscape with what do you call this? These blue flowers. These blue flowers are what they call Texas bluebonnets. They're very familiar. They're very popular in Texas. I'm not in Texas. I'm in Arizona, but I like them nonetheless. Nonetheless, I like them. So here we go, okay, guys? Let's do this. You know what? It just doesn't seem that fair. That little painting. So just a second. That little painting just feels like I don't know. It doesn't feel right. Let's do a bigger one. Let's do a bigger one because that way you guys can see what I'm doing. So I think that if you guys can't see what I'm doing, it doesn't make any sense. All right. So let's do this. Let's do some Texas bluebonnets. Okay, guys. Here we go. I was listening to one of I consider a couple of people mentors, right? The thing is that they're not art people, because usually I don't get my advice from art people. And one of the reasons for that, there's many reasons for that, but one of the reasons is that many times in our community as artists, it's a bit skewed. A lot of information is a bit I don't know. It's got to do with a lot of misinformation. So I try to get my info from people that are not artists. And when I mean my info, I mean like how to approach work. You know, because art, work, right? There's work to art. So, right? So I was listening to this guy talk about how being sure of yourself is everything in business, right? This guy was talking about that kind of stuff. I was like, it's so interesting because I feel like in art, it's exactly the same thing. So it must be one of those human things, right? One of those things that are just part of the human condition. But it's just it applies all around, right? So I thought it was pretty interesting how he was talking about that, and I was trying to catch it, and I was like, "Oh man, I can see that. I definitely can see that in artwork. I know that confidence seems to be, at least in my experience, confidence is everything, you know." But the thing is that, okay, well, so we recognize what confidence is, right? Confidence, let's say confidence is everything, right? Okay, well, that's cool. It's great information. How do you get confidence? You know, how do you retain it? How do you make sure that you keep it and you multiply it and you know, like how does that happen for artists? For everyone, right? But in specific case for artists. This is one of the things that I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out, right? And then I realized that a lot of my figure was mental and was not so much physical. And then that's when, you know, if it's difficult, if it's not difficult, if it's complicated, chances are we already lost the whole thing. You know, this is what I've come to understand. It shouldn't be that complicated to figure out. It shouldn't be something that we think about, that we sit there and think about, right? So, but I did, you know. I'm making an open book right now. I did. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to gain confidence as an artist. And then it just occurred to me, dude, maybe you're not moving. Maybe you're not moving enough. Maybe you can't find out what that is because you're not moving enough. So I would move, right? I started moving more. And not just in painting, but in my tasks, in my daily tasks, my practice, like the whole thing, right? And then I realized that I would have this thing. I would have like these spikes, right? I was confident and then I wasn't. I was confident and then I wasn't. I was like, what's going on there? Why do I have this thing? So, by the way, don't mind that. Don't mind that. So I was like, what do I have these spikes, right? And I started realizing something. In my endeavors. Confidence is something that you build. It's something that you build constantly. It's something that you constantly have to be on top of. It's like a garden. Otherwise, it goes away. No matter how hard, no matter how much confidence you grow a week, like you try to maintain, if you start slacking off, the confidence stops visiting you. And this was very painful for me to accept, right? Because as an artist, you're like, I know how to paint. How come I feel like I don't know what I'm doing today, right? And many people suggest, well, take a break and you can revisit it. And certainly those things, of course, and you can see it with new eyes. And of course, that works. And it works well if you're doing it as a hobby, But if this is your job, you don't have that luxury. You don't have a luxury to be like, well, I'll put it off for a month and then we'll see. Or I'll put it off for a week, because it's driving me bananas. And then I'll revisit it and then I'll see how to approach it. No, because, the commission needs to be turned in. Or the commissions need to be, delivered. So, and you don't want to tell the collector, I'm having an artist block. The muse didn't visit me today. You can't tell the collector that. They're gonna be like, what the hell does that have to do with me? Like you agreed on finishing this. I used to be a portrait artist, right? So you agreed on finishing this portrait. You can't tell me right now that you have an artist block. It's another. I believe it's another excuse for us to not do the things that we need to do. I discovered that after hitting my falling on my face a few hundred times. So I was like, oh, okay. So what do I do? Like, how do you maintain? How do you maintain a level of confidence so high? And so the reason I'm saying this again is because in art, this is something I think that it's not really talked about. It's not talked about a lot. We talk about many things in artwork as artists. We talk about the creative process, we talk about materials, we talk about medium, but we rarely, at least I rarely hear people talk about the nitty-gritty, which is your state of mind. How confident are you? Are you Picasso material? Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't want to do that, right? Are you, whatever artist you want to compare yourself to. Let's say that you like Monet, right? Are you Monet material? And not in creating artwork. That's not what I'm referring to. In showing up is what I'm saying. Are you able to create artwork consistently and persistently? And how do you do it? And I needed to understand that because art had turned into my work, right? I was now working as an artist. So I couldn't have these days where I was like, well, I'm just not feeling it today. I couldn't have those days. I still can't have those days. If I have a day like that, you can have a sick day, but how many sick days can you have in your job before your manager or someone's like, hey, what's wrong, dude? What do you mean you're having like 3-4 sick days a month or 2 sick days a week or something? You can't do that, right? So I started diving into the whole idea of what does it take to be confident, because confidence breeds. It's a momentum thing, if you're confident, This is what I've come to understand, guys. This is the one I want to share with you guys. Besides the painting here, confidence, whatever it is for you, it comes out of doing things. It comes out of completing tasks. It comes out of that daily responsibility that you have. You know, this is one of the things that I've learned. If I slack somewhere, you know, then the next day I'll slack a little bit more. And the next day, because now you feel bad, right? If you slack a little bit, now you feel bad. Now you're like, oh man, I should have painted yesterday, but I didn't, you know? Or I should have bought my materials, you know, I needed some purple, I needed some red, and I didn't go buy it, or I didn't order it online, or whatever, however you do it. And then the next day you're like, oh man, I really need to take care of that. But now my level of confidence, what I'm trying to say is my ability to believe in myself has tremendously gone down. You know, this is something that I'm learning about myself. If I don't stay on top of my tasks, it doesn't matter how small they are. They could be as small as I need to wash the dishes. They could be as small as don't forget to take out the trash. That starts weighing on me. And I'm not talking about making life hard. What I'm talking about is if I start letting go of my commitments, it starts showing up here. It's the craziest thing. I never experienced that until I started painting more aggressively. Until I started painting for a living, and I started painting daily, aggressively. You know, and I mean aggressively is doing multiple works a day. You know. And large works, small works, mural-sized works that I've done. It's when I started figuring out, oh man, it's all tied. It's tied to my psyche. It's the craziest thing, you know. If I don't control my state of mind, if I'm not on top of my commitment of excellence to myself, you know, to myself, to my family, it starts weighing on me. It's the craziest thing. And I remember reading that about Picasso. I remember reading how he took every opportunity to stay busy, you know. But they're not busy. They're proactive. We use the word busy, right? We talk about busy. How's it going? We talk about busy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We don't. It's not that they were busy. Like, oh, I go to work and I punch in. No, like I remember reading about Picasso how he went into the studio, and in anything he did, he wanted to stay. Like, I don't know if you heard this. Like older men reach a point, like or older men that were very or women and women that were very had a lot of movement in their life. When they get to an age, they need to maintain that movement because that is the thing that keeps them, you know, with a sense of self, right? They need to maintain that movement. And in artwork, I think that I'm starting to understand that it's tied to that. Like I need to maintain that sense of movement, you know. If I'm not, I don't know if I'm making any sense to anyone out there that is doing what I'm doing or is planning to go full time as artists. I found out, guys, that it's tied to your confidence, and your confidence you will have the spikes if you don't maintain a full engagement towards your commitment. These spikes don't go away. What I mean by that, the spikes, is that you'll go and you'll paint very hard and very aggressive for a couple of weeks or a couple of days or a couple of hours, and then you won't show up for another month or so. That's a spike. You know, it's like going to the gym only to hurt your muscles and never to come back for another month or so. Anyone who trains professionally knows that is you don't do that, right? If you're a professional, anything, weightlifter, musician, anything, you can't visit your instrument only one time, right? You have to constantly maintain a relationship with your instrument, however that is, with music or with, in order to maintain that level of confidence. Because being like, when we say, oh, I'm a little bit rusty, when we say that, what we're saying really, it's not so much that we've forgotten. You don't forget. Your confidence level is low. And that's what I found out in creating artwork. When I feel like I'm rusty, I'm not really rusty. It's like, we use that term. What I'm really saying is my confidence level is very low because I was not just painting, I am not believing in myself enough. So now I start questioning everything. I start questioning the colors I'm using. I start questioning how much how much pressure I should put in my paint in my canvas when I'm using my brush. I love that. Lauren says, I love listening to your suggestions and what you've learned as far as working and being successful professional artist. So insightful. Thank you so much. Ken Cordell says, keeps you feeling alive. Yes, absolutely. Doing is being. You know what? You've nailed it. You've nailed it. I could not. I think because I talk a lot, sometimes or many times I don't land my insights or my notes, because these are notes I take daily, right? I think maybe because I talk a lot, I'm like, some of you guys just say it so perfect. Doing is being. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's almost it's not almost. It's philosophical. Doing is being. Doing is being. It's that engagement. That engagement is what keeps us alive. That sense of that you're moving, and it creates, for me anyways, I don't know for you guys, I'm sure that I'm not alone. It creates a sense of man, you know what? I finished my painting today, and then I took a photograph, and then I showed it to my fan page. It gives me this idea that, man, I'm kind of a badass. I'm kind of a little bit invincible for as little as task it is. So what that does is that it opens me up, right, to more opportunity. I see another blank canvas and I'm like, I can do it. I can do it because I just did something, like a kid, right? You reward a kid. I can do it. I just did something. And I feel like that's what some of those great artists that we read about, that's how they approached art. Anyways, the stuff that I've been reading about them, I mean, I've always been a fan of the great ones, but I started reading their little memoirs, or I started reading little letters, a little bit more obscure stuff, right? That sometimes it's a little bit harder to find, and or not necessarily hard to find, but it's not about their artwork. It's about their work ethic, and that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. That's the kind of stuff that drives me, because it lets you peek into their brain. It lets you peek into. It's beyond the artwork. I mean, it's because they thought like that they were able to produce that type of artwork in that quantity and in that, with that intensity. So I am a bit of a mad scientist here. I'm like I need to figure this out by doing, right? I can't figure, like, painting is not thinking, right? So I can't look at this painting and be like, well, if I put a little shade of, and then then I got lost already. I don't got time for that. By the time I did that, I could have done another painting, or I could have taken a picture. I could have talked to someone. I could have sent a picture to a gallery owner and be like, hey, dude, what do you think about this? What do you think about exhibiting this in your gallery? Whatever, however you move yourself, right? But it really is about time. It's about speed. And I'm not talking about speed in creating the artwork, but in creating tasks, in finishing tasks. You don't just want to show up to paint just for the sake of it, unless that's your hobby, of course, But you want to show up to complete something, because it will give you this sense of accomplishment. I was reading this, I was listening to this book. It was recommended by me, by a friend from Australia. She told me, you gotta check this book out, and it's by an admiral. I don't know, maybe you guys have seen it. I've seen it on Facebook. It talks about how This guy, it's a military man. He was talking about how the very first thing you want to do in the morning is make your bed, right? Because it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And I thought, oh man, that's so that's so cool. What books do I recommend, Lauren? I don't know. There's so many. One of the books that helped me see things differently was absolutely Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. That's a great book. It has nothing to do with artwork, but everything to do with the latter word. I would start with something like that, you know. And one of the things that I noticed is that you want to go, if you're going to read about someone, like one of those gurus out there, one of those guys, pick one and dive into their material, as opposed to getting, because it gets confusing. For me, it got a bit confusing after a while when I started looking at different guys, you know. So what I did was like, I'm going to pick the guy that I like his hustle. I like the way he works or she works. I like the way that they do things. And I'm going to dive deep into like what do they do in the morning, these people, you know? What are their not just their philosophies, but what is their actual game like? What does it look like, you know? So I would definitely go with one or two of those gurus out there, you know, that are actually doing things, not just talking about it. Gary Vaynerchuk's one of them. The other one that I really like is Grant Cardone. He's got a few really good books. He's a little intense. Not a lot of people like him. Well, a lot of people like him, but not everyone likes him because he's a little bit more intense. But I really like what he has to say about commitment and work ethic. And to me, that's the most important thing, because the artwork is the easy part. You know, I mean, come on, we can all create artwork, you know, or we really want to, we can all move into that direction and start creating artwork. But as artists, are we able to do it consistently and persistently? And are we able to get our message out? And what is that? What does that entail? How hard is that going to be? You know, what is that going to look like in order for like the effort, the level of effort? What is that going to take? You know? It's like, oh, I want to be a professional singer. Awesome. What does that look like? Is it Broadway? Is it, you know, recording musician? Like, where are you going? And how much effort will that take? You know, that endeavor will take. And anyways, I don't want to bore you guys to death with my spiels. But that's pretty much that. This is a, what do they call them? Bluebonnet field, guys. These are, I guess, very popular in Texas. I love that. Okay, you've heard of them. Yeah. These guys are everywhere. No, these guys are, especially if that's your kind of, if that's your cup of tea. I don't really read much about artists unless it's artists that are already gone, because a lot of the stuff that's happening right now, I love a lot of the artwork that's happening, but it's very mysterious, because of course they haven't really released that many books, or they haven't really released their personal life and kind of, you know, things like that, or we're still questioning them, you know. Like, a lot of people are still questioning Jeff Koons or Damien Hirst. We're still questioning those artists. I think we're not going to question them as hard when some time goes by. Kind of like with Andy Warhol. I mean, people still question Andy Warhol, you know. And when I mean questioning, I'm talking about like were they real or not, you know, that kind of thing. But I think as some time goes by, we're gonna question them less and less, and we're gonna start diving into what they did that was great. What we didn't like is very obvious, right? People make that very obvious. But what did they do great? And I think it's going to start coming to surface in years, no? Magdalene 987 is asking, do you have an image in your mind when you start a painting? I really do. I sure do. But it's not this image. I have a very vague image. I like that approach of a quick sketch. Sometimes I do it, well, not sometimes. Lately, I've been doing it a lot with this. This is a graphite. Basically, it's just like a pencil. No, it's like just lead. It's just lead. It's just a pencil. It's just a thick pencil. And I do a quick sketch. You know, I go on, I'll do a quick sketch, and then after that, I just go after it. But I don't know really what it's going to look like, nor I really have much intention. I have a vague idea. Now, it's a little fine dance because I don't want it to divert, but also I don't want to control it. So it's a little fine dance, you know. I don't want it, like if I'm doing this, when I mean I don't have an idea, I start a landscape and I'm not going to end up with a horse, right? it's not that you know, it's obvious, right? But I don't have a like this stuff that I'm doing right now. I wasn't thinking about that, you know. But it just kind of, you know, at some point it feels right, you know. And I do overwork it from time to time. I had some people tell me, "Man, you sure overworked that painting," and I totally agree. I like what Picasso used to say: the less paint, the more art. You know, and I think what he meant is not necessarily paint as in paint, but the less you paint on it, the more art, because it's more spontaneous. You know, as opposed to the more I work it, then at that point, I start thinking about it more. You know, I'm like, oh, what if I put a little bit of yellow there? And now when I'm doing that, I feel like now I went from my hands to my head. And by the way, I'm right here, guys. From my hands to my head, and that to me kills the process. You know, I don't want my head, I don't want my mind to have so much. And I know that it's a little esoteric, you know, it's a little, but I've come to understand in my personal journey that my mind has no place here. It's got very little place here. It's only got a place to be like, oh, trees, oh, okay, bluebonnets, awesome. Other than that, leave it alone and let your hands do the work and your practice come in. You know, let your hands do the work, and they'll know what to do. They're smart, you know. They're smarter than I think, than I give them credit. They know what to do. They put in their 10,000 hours. They know what to do. Really, for me, the approach is to not take hostage the creative, you know. And again, it's another one of those cheesy, you know, words: the creative, the muse, and you know. But it's true. However you want to call it, you know. I really don't want to take hostage the creative. The creative wants to play. It's like a little child, you know. It's like, oh yeah, yellow, 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 ha 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 ha. It wants to play, and that's what the art is, right? That's what the vision is, and I want to control it. You know, it's like a kid, right? Sit down and eat your food. Finish your food. Don't play and eat at the same time. You know, it's like I'm parenting the creative, and the creative does not like to be parented. The creative is a little child. It's pure. It's pure. It doesn't think about colors the way that my mind does. The creative knows. It doesn't need much of me. I don't know if I'm gifted. I may be a little crazy, but thank you. But that's really the way I look at it, you know. And the moment I keep with it longer than I need to, and what I mean I need to is okay. I have an idea. Boom. Let's say that I was writing a book, right? Let's say that you're a writer, an author, and you want to write a book about, I don't know, an autobiography. Right? You're going to write an autobiography, right? Which is what most artists are, right? Most art is an autobiography, in a sense, right? In one sense. And you're not going to go and study about yourself in order to write an autobiography. It's material that you already know. So it has to, it's almost vomited out. It's like, poof, there it is. You know, and I know it's a strange word to say that, but it goes out so fast. That's how I see my paintings. Like I know this, you know, I know this. If you ask me to paint something that I don't know, and I don't mean like something that I don't understand, something that hasn't been part of my experience, I'm gonna have to go study it, right? And maybe not paint it. Maybe if you tell me, you know, well, why don't we paint the rocks from this place and this city, or I mean not city, but you know what I mean. Like if you ask me to paint something from Australia, you know, it's going to be more like, oh, okay, well, let me see what type of rock formations. What is that? What does it do? You know, or I have to sit there and look at it for a good amount of time, sort of let it sink in, right? And so that's kind of that's kind of my approach, you know. That's kind of my approach. It's unless you're gonna write about something that you don't know, then you have to go study. But art, I feel, is very autobiographical. You know, it comes out. I'm like a horse. Okay, I've seen those. I've seen those many times. I know what they look like. I understand them. Not I understand them as I'm a horseman or anything like that. No, but I have a good idea of them because I've drawn them so much. I've seen them, I've studied them, you know, and on and on and on and on. And I remember that movie when the horse moved like that, or I remember that photograph or that painting or that drawing by Da Vinci. I remember the lines and this and that, and you know what I mean? It's become part of my experience now. So, anyways, I don't want to bore you guys to death. Here it goes. Here is the powerful one. Okay, I call this in Spanish in certain countries. I think in Mexico only. I don't know. We call this one the powerful one. The name is Jose Trujillo, guys. I am muy loco. I am the world's greatest living artist. Some people just don't understand that, but I do. So here we go. Let me remove the glare. There we go. And you know, it started out as Texas Bluebonnets, right? Bluebonnet field. But it just felt right to put more color. Maybe I overworked it again. I don't know. But it's good. It's good. It's all good. It's part of the je ne sais quoi. Here's a bit of my craziness, guys. I really hope you guys enjoy this. This is it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to create artwork. It's a pleasure to share my artwork. It's a pleasure to talk about my experiences, my artwork. It's a real treat. I mean, to be able to do this, you know, every day is it's like Groundhog Day, but awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. If you're an artist, go for it. Keep doing your thing. Keep practicing. Keep painting. Don't let anyone tell you guys that it's not good enough. There is taste for everything. You know, some people, it might not be good enough. Others would want to give you their wallet. This has happened to me over and over. Some people say, "Oh, I hate that." And someone else is like, I borrowed money to buy it. So it's just the world. It's taste, you know. It's taste for everything. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much. Take care. And I'll make another one very soon. I'm actually making them live daily. So stay tuned. I also do videos on Facebook. I go Facebook Live. I do that. And I do I also do YouTube videos. You guys say if you guys want to go check those out when you get a chance. I don't know. I have over 800 videos where I talk about different. I give out my spiel, different things, different concepts, philosophies, art marketing, what I think about the art world, what I think about, you know, all kinds of things. It's just my perspective. Nothing is the ultimate truth, and nothing is set in stone. It's been my experiences, and I like to share them. That's all. All right, guys, take care. Till next time. Bye-bye.